Hey family, it is I, Netta, your esteemed hostess, and I am so happy to be back with you at Black Lives Count. And yes, they do. So, family, when you look at everything that has transpired in America, especially, the policies and everything that has touched black lives, we know that there's no other community in America that has suffered as we have. You know, they um, had one Charlie Kirk, and their own people did it. Did you see them online crying and screaming and upset? You even had senators and people saying, threatening to get people fired and to take away their social media accounts. Yet, black people have dealt with this from 400 years and we're still dealing with it today. I remember after George Floyd was taken out, I remember so many Caucasian, uh, Hispanic, possibly Asian, so many people online making terrible, disturbing, disgusting memes. I remember the jokes. I remember even the little white kids posing for pictures, one laying on the ground and the other on top of him with his neck on his knee on his neck. I remember that. I remember all of the laughs that those memes and pictures and things got from other communities. They didn't see it as a tragedy. But now, when something happens to somebody who is beloved to them, then it's a tragedy. This is why, you know, I just have to be honest. And I'm not saying all, but 99.9% of them are terrible, terrible people. For those that say they're not racist, yet when we see these altercations in these public spaces where white Karens are attacking black people, and you see tons of white people standing around, not one person says one word. So if you are quiet about a situation that you see happening, you're in agreement with it. It just is what it is. Because if I was somewhere and I saw, even if it was a black person, antagonizing or attacking verbally and physically somebody who was innocent for no reason, I would say, hey, that's not right. Why are you doing that? I'm dialing 911. But they don't do that. And it is because they are complacent with it. They just don't say anything, and they allow it to happen. See, this is why racism and all of the biasness in America has lasted so long, because so many white people simply say nothing. And now that Trump is in office, who most of them voted for, to be honest, when you look at the numbers, the raw data shows most of them voted for him. You know the climate of America is something wicked. But because I am a counselor, I want to talk about how these things affect our people. So I'm going to read an article, and it's from a research news article. And it says how police violence takes a toll on the mental health of black Americans. Police killings of unarmed black Americans represent an important public health issue. These killings not only affect those close to the victim, but have significant effects on the mental health of the black community as a whole. The events surrounding the death of George Floyd in 2020 and the ensuing protests highlighted the deep-rooted problems of police violence and structural racism in America. 3 years later, the headlines continue to detail shocking episodes of police brutality, often directed toward individuals who pose little or no threat. And this is where I get upset when, look, I know that I'll never vote for a Republican. Okay, I wouldn't care what he was doing. I'm not voting for a Republican because majority of them are racist. But the same holds true for Democrats. Because if they were so holier than thou and wanted to see the right things happening in the country, it would have been worked out. They would have been. See, they wasn't protesting. You know, yeah, some of them came out during the 2020 George Floyd protests, but that was only because they were tired of being quarantined. So that's why they brought their asses out there then. But they don't protest when black people are being slaughtered on the streets. I mean, think about it. Think about it. And then the gall to vote for this man, this administration, and then expect black people to go out in those streets and protest with you. No. I was so proud of black people on this time, because every other time we always have sympathy for other communities. The sympathy starts at home. But continuing, Tyree Nichols in Memphis is one of another casualties. Of course, meaningful change will take time, but it is disheartening to see no progress. None. Not since 2020, not before in 1920, not 1820, not 1720. There's no progress with the way black citizens are treated in America by the police. We can even look at Sonia Massey and how that sister called the police. And oftentimes, that's what it is. A black person will call the police. There's been too many to name. And instead of the police coming to render assistance to that citizen that called them, they come and they harm them. According to data collected by the nonprofit organization Mapping Police Violence, police killed 1,123 people in the United States, and notably people of certain races and ethnicities are disproportionately impacted. Police kill more than 300 black Americans each year, unarmed black Americans each year. Black Americans are nearly 3 times as likely to be killed by police than white Americans. And black Americans are 5 times more likely to be unarmed when killed. Now, the lie that they don't tell is that white Americans are being killed also by the police. I have done a little digging and research, and there's been some cases of some unarmed white people being murdered as well. I know there was a little white boy who was, I think he was 15 or 16, maybe he was 16, and the police opened fire on him. And these were white officers that murdered this young boy in front of his mother, in front of both his parents, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't think they lost their jobs or anything. But see, I heard somebody say this several times. They perfect it on us, and then they do it on you guys. So, when you stand around and say nothing about what is happening to the black community, it's eventually going to get around to your community as well. The burden of fatal police violence is an urgent public health crisis in the U.S. In the wake of these highly publicized killings, we can see the anger and anguish that black Americans feel. But how do we measure the impact of these events on the mental health and well-being of black Americans? These killings have the greatest impact on the victims, families, and others living in their communities. However, there is growing evidence that police killings affect the mental health of many other black Americans who are not directly connected to the killings or to the people involved. It can cause situations like PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress syndrome. It can cause anxiety. It can cause depression. And if you've ever heard of poke the bear, it can cause a situation. We have had a couple of black men that took some officers out. Now, I'm not advocating for violence, but I'm saying if you continue to poke the bear, then expect to be mauled, because it's going to happen eventually. In a study published in The Lancet by a team of researchers led by Alexander Tsai, a staff psychiatrist at MGH and associate professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, attempted to quantify the population level health impacts of police killings in a nationally representative sample of black Americans. In this population-based quasi-experimental study, the researchers combined data on police killings with individual-level data collected from the nationally representative sample of adults in the 2013 to 15 U.S. Behavioral Risk Factors Surveillance System to estimate the impact of police killings of unarmed black Americans on the self-reported mental health of black Americans in the general population. Local community was defined as the state in which the respondent was living. They looked specifically at the number of police killings of unarmed black Americans in the same state during the 3 months prior to the BRFSS interview. Mental health was assessed using the following questions. Now, thinking about your mental health, which includes stress, depression, and problems with emotions. For how many days during the past 30 days was your mental health not good? This survey item is widely used to monitor trends in population mental health and has been shown to have a high degree of internal and construct validity. In this cohort, 38,993 of 103,710,000 black Americans respondents were exposed to one or more police killings of unarmed black Americans in their state of residence during the 3 months prior to the survey. Black respondents were exposed to an average of one police killing of an unarmed black American during the 3 months prior to interview, or approximately 4 killings per year. Each additional police killing of an unarmed black American was associated with an additional 0.14 poor mental health days among black American respondents. And I'm going to stop right there. Often when the police go into a situation, whether someone has called them or that particular individual has called them, when it is a black individual, they do not come into the situation with their skills or the knowledge that they're supposed to have as officers, that they have they've been working with the communities, they've been trained to de-escalate the situations. They don't come like that to the black community. The way they come into the black community is escalated to the 25th power and ready to do whatever they need to do or they want to do. There's so many stories. I asked not too long an attorney. It's a black attorney, very well known black attorney. Why don't they file a lawsuit with the United Nations? Because at this point, black people have to take other matters into their hand, because it's either going to be one of the two. Because it's not going to continue to hold up. It's not. And they think sicking the National Guard in the black community, on the black community, is going to do something. Well, you have to think, some of those people are also people of color. And if you really want to know, because I work with a variety of people, not just black people, people from other nationalities and backgrounds. People are getting tired of this. They really are. Now, add into it the situation with immigration and all of these attacks on different people, on different people of color. People are tired of the Caucasian persuasion and the BS. People are sick of it. And it is going to come to a head. It really is. Because unless there is divine intervention, it's inevitable. But the government sits on top of its high throne and does nothing or says nothing. Do you know that there are so many alt-right groups, hatred groups, okay, that there's too many to count. The government is very aware of all of those groups, those white nationalist groups, but they do nothing. But then a black group begins to build, like with I can't think of the name of that, the young man who, where they were walking around carrying their guns and see, that's a threat. It's not a threat to see white men walking around with guns, violently going into people's communities and neighborhoods, threatening and antagonizing and stuff. That's not a threat. But when black people in retaliation armed themselves, as they did in, I forget what city it was in, but where those white nationalists that go around the country jumping out of the U-Haul buses and trucks and stuff like a bunch of perverts. When those people armed themselves, it was a problem. I saw officers saying that they wanted to arrest those people. But it was officers helping these white nationalists go into these neighborhoods, and they still are. You don't see the mayors talking about it. You don't see the governors of those states talking about it. You don't see anybody, the Congress people, anyone discussing, hold up, that's the problem. It has been filmed. Officers helping those white nationalists. But they don't say anything because it's white nationalists. Until they want to do something to them. Then they'll find the balls to do it. Family, we have to wake up. This is why this country is in the ruin. And I have no pity on it. I really don't. I pray for my people. But honestly, I can't wait for the destruction. I can't. And it is up to the Most High when that's going to happen. But I know that there has to be divine intervention in this because it has been too much. And there's so much blood on the land, on this land. And the blood is black blood. It is black blood that is spilled on all over this land. So, I mean, I believe that it is going to come to a head. And these people run around talking about a civil war, civil war, civil war. I feel sorry for them. Because, no, I don't. I changed that. Because they'll get just exactly what they are asking for with their civil war. They really will. They just don't know. They've made too many enemies. They have enemies all over the planet. So it's not going to be a good turnout for them. It's really not. And they didn't win the civil war that already happened on this land. And they're not going to win any other one. Family, but tell me what you think about it. Probably many of us have been touched by these unarmed killings of Black Americans and are really now very tired of seeing them. And I really hope that we can make some changes here real soon. So like, share, and comment, and let's talk about it in the comment section. And thanks to all my new subscribers. I really love you. I thank you. We welcome you. We are a family here. And as it says on the channel, this is the channel for foundational Black Americans. But we welcome all melanated people that align with us. You have to align with us because you can't just come over here with the BS. All right, family. Thanks for watching. Take care. And remember, peace, love, and blessings, and Black power. All right. Bye-bye.